Landing a job in DC feels like a win until you're stuck in traffic, questioning all your life choices. Everyone thinks it's politics and prestige, but no one tells you how fast the city can burn you out if you don't know the system. From rent-slashing suburb hacks to school zone rules that'll blindside you, these 10 things I wish I knew before moving to DC could save you thousands and a ton of stress. And the last one, I learned it the hard way, and you really don't want to. Hey guys, this is Ryan Butler, your go-to realtor in DC. Some of you might be thinking, who the hell is this guy? What can he possibly say about this city that I don't already know? Fair enough, but I've been here for 21 years, and I know this place like the back of my hand. So yeah, I'd say I know a thing or two about DC. And honestly, I'm pretty sure there are a few things I'm about to share that'll surprise you. Stick with me and let's check them out now. Let's start with number 1, traffic reality. We talked time, not miles. Number 1 is traffic because we have to talk about it. If you're moving to DC, toss out everything you thought you knew about getting around. This city runs on time, not miles. Seriously, ask anyone who's lived here for more than a week and they'll tell you, nobody says it's 3 miles away or it's 2 miles away. What you're hearing instead is it's about 20 minutes if you're lucky, but during rush hour, it could be closer to an hour. And no, they're not exaggerating. You could be just a mile from your destination and still find yourself crawling along the traffic, watching a clock tick past 45 minutes. It's one of those things that surprises newcomers, but makes perfect sense once you've been stuck on Connecticut Ave at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. That's just how DC works. Traffic shapes everything from where people live and work to how they plan their weekends and what time they leave happy hour. A quick dinner across town? That could easily become a 2-hour adventure when you factor in the drive, parking, and the chance of construction detour. But here's the thing, people make it work. Locals get creative. Some adjust their work hours to dodge peak traffic. Others choose neighborhoods where everything they need is walkable. A lot of folks ditch the car altogether and rely on metro, bikes, scooters, or plain old walking to get around. And when it comes to where you live, that's where smart planning can really pay off. People who know the game look beyond just square footage or numbers of bedrooms. They look at commute times and transportation options. They know which neighborhoods offer shortcuts, hidden gems, and surprisingly easy commutes into the city. Speaking of neighborhoods, just wait until you see the prices in some of the areas I'll show you. Buyers there aren't just paying for location, they're getting a smoother daily routine and some surprising tax perks that could save thousands over time. Stick around for that, because it might completely change where you decide to live. First, let's move on to our number 2. This is one of the most valuable pieces of insider advice I can give you about living in DC. And honestly, most agents won't mention it. But before we jump in, take a second to hit subscribe. That way, you'll get the latest on DC real estate, market insights, and new developments. All the info you need to decide if the city's right for you. Hundreds of others have done the same, and many of them found their dream home faster than they expected. So number 2, suburb savings secrets. 20 to 35% housing cost reduction in the suburbs. Get this, the moment you cross the DC line, everything changes, especially home prices. Take Prince George's County, for example. Huge drop in costs, but you're still close enough to enjoy all the perks of city life. Jobs, museums, happy hours, without draining your wallet. Take 2 similar 1-bedroom apartments, one inside the city, right by the metro stop, and another just 15 minutes further out. Still walkable, safe, and close to transit. The difference in rent is about $800 a month, every single month. That's nearly $10,000 a year back in your pocket. Imagine what you could do with that. Crush some debt, build a travel fund, finally upgrade your couch, or just stop stressing every time rent's due. And here's the kicker. Living in the suburbs doesn't mean you're out of the loop. If you're near a metro line, you're golden. You get city access without the city rent. And honestly, it's the best of both worlds. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's a geography hack no one talks about. One river, that's the line. On one side, prices shoot up. On the other, way more affordable, even if both spots are the same distance from downtown. That river is coming up at our 3rd point. And once you see how it changes the map, you'll rethink your whole search. Number 3. East versus west of the river. So let's talk about the river divide. Now, the Potomac doesn't just split DC geographically, it splits it financially, culturally, and sometimes even emotionally. And if you don't know how that line works, you could end up overspending by thousands a year for no real benefit. So here's the scoop. Head west of the river, and you're stepping into some of the more polished areas, red, expensive neighborhoods. They've got charm, history, walkability. They've come with the price tags to match. Now, look east of the river. That's where things get interesting. You'll see more space for the money, way more affordable rent or mortgage options, and a growing number of up-and-coming neighborhoods that smart locals are eyeing. These are the places where people are buying now and building real equity without giving up access to the city. When I first moved to DC, I didn't get it. I defaulted to the west side because it sounded safer, more established, more DC. But get this, my commute, same distance, same metro line. The only real difference was my rent. $500 more every month. That's $6,000 a month. And for what? A zip code with more name recognition? And here's the wild part. Homes just a few metro stops east offer not only more square footage, but often include things like parking or outdoor space, things you pay a premium for on the other side of the river. This isn't just about settling. A lot of neighborhoods east of the river, especially in Southeast DC and nearby Maryland suburbs, are full of life. You got global shops, beautiful parks, community events, and developments popping up all the time. You're still living the DC life, just doing it smart. And this east-west split, it connects directly to a bunch of DC area tax perks most people never think about until it's too late. And whether you're renting or buying, it can sneak up on you. Now, that little-known tax trap and how to dodge it is coming up next in number 4. And trust me, your future self will thank you. Number 4, the double tax hit. All right, this is something that blindsides a lot of people, taxes. DC has a way of sneaking up on your paycheck, and if you're not careful, it'll take a bigger bite than you expected. So here's what most folks don't realize right away. DC has its own income tax on top of what you already paid to the feds. And it's not pocket change. Depending on how much you earn, you're looking at anywhere from around 4% to 10.75% of your income going into the city, just for having a DC address. And here's where it really gets tricky. The 6-month rule. If you spend more than 183 days in DC in a year, even if you're just subletting, doing a trial run, or crashing with a friend, you officially count as a resident. Which means, hello, DC income tax. No exceptions, no grace period, just a bill. Let's put this in perspective. Say you make $150K a year, which is pretty normal for a lot of folks in this area. Depending on your deductions, that could mean owing thousands more annually than someone with the same job living just outside the city. And that's before you even factor in rent or mortgage costs. Remember that suburb trick from earlier? Living just across the line in Maryland or Virginia means you dodge DC's income tax altogether. Sure, you still pay state tax, but it's often lower and it's not stacked on top of another local tax. And when I finally sat down and did the math, I realized I could have saved around $2,700 a year in taxes just by living one metro stop over the border. And that's a conservative estimate. Add that to the $800 a month rent difference we talked about in point number 2, and yeah, it stings. So this is where location really matters. It's not just about cutting your commute or being near brunch spots. Where you live in DC or just outside of it can either quietly drain your bank account or save you thousands over time. And if you think that's surprising, wait until you see what happens with car registration in DC. Let's just say it's not the DMV you want to mess with. Number 5, Metro Mastery and Transportation Truth. The Metro is one of DC's best features, but not for the reasons tourists think. Sure, it's clean, hits the National Mall, and it looks good in photos. But if you're actually living here, it plays a much bigger role. Quick snapshot, the DC Metro is the second busiest in the country after NYC. It covers nearly 130 miles, hits 98 stations, and moves more than 160 million people a year. It's not just a nice to have, it's how the city breathes. But here's what most people don't realize until they've been burned. The train won't always get you where you need to go. The bus will. And yeah, I know buses aren't glamorous, but once you figure out how they work here, it changes everything. Some neighborhoods are far from train stations. Others require awkward transfers. The bus system fills in those gaps. It's faster, cheaper, and way more reliable than people give it credit for, especially if you're bouncing around DC for work or errands. Now, let's talk about cars. Honestly, owning one here is a hassle. Between parking permits, street cleaning tickets, garage fees, and downtown rates, your car becomes a money pit. Just to park monthly, you're often paying $150 to $300. Driving to the sea for work, that's another $20 to $50 a day easy. I learned the hard way. First month living here, I dropped nearly $300 on parking tickets I didn't even need because I didn't understand how well the transit system worked. I had a car, but I barely used it. You might not need one either. And remember what we said about suburban living in point number 4? This is what makes it possible. You can live in Maryland or Virginia, skip DC's high rent and taxes, and still be downtown in 30 minutes thanks to the metro. You don't need a car to make that lifestyle work. But, and this is key, don't get too comfortable yet. DC's weather, it throws everyone off. A bit of rain or a dusting of snow can derail the entire commute. Trains, buses, roads, all of it. And unless you're ready for that curveball, it'll cost you. That's coming up in point number 6. Because in DC, weather does mess with your mind. Number 6, weather surprises and seasonal reality. Don't let DC's southern location on the map fool you. The weather here is all over the place, and it can throw off everything. Your commute, your outfit, even your whole day. Take summer, for example. On paper, it sounds fine, and an average of 75 to 80 degrees doesn't seem too bad, right? But then you step outside and bam! 66% humidity hits you like a wall. Suddenly it feels like 100 degrees. It's the kind of sticky, sweaty heat that clings to you. Just walking a few blocks from the metro to the office can leave you soaked before 9 a.m. meeting. And then winter shows up with a totally different vibe, but just as intense. People think DC winters are mild. They're not. With wind chill, temps can dip to 28 degrees. Every few years, we get a proper blizzard that shuts the whole place down. And the cold sticks around from mid-November to late March. That old college puffer jacket, yeah, it's not gonna cut it. What really gets you though is how much the weather messes with your ties. Snow and ice can turn a 30-minute commute into 2 hours. Rain delays the metro. Sidewalks get slippery. Even a super hot day can mean late buses and the kind of walk that makes you rethink your whole schedule. I learned my lesson the hard way. Showed up to a networking event in October thinking a blazer was enough. It was sunny at lunch, and then the temperature dropped 25 degrees by dinner. I spent the whole event freezing, trying to look confident while quietly shivering. But here's the thing. It's not just about being prepared for heat or snow. In DC, how you show up matters. Literally, this is a city where networking is a part of the job description. People notice if you're late, if you're flustered, or if your shoes are soaked. And that pressure, it's real. Which brings us to number 7. And the next thing I wish someone had told you. In DC, the career grind hits differently, and it starts the minute you arrive. Number 7, networking culture intensity. In DC, networking isn't just a career booster, it's survival. If you're coming from a city where connections are more laid back or optional, the vibe here might catch you off guard. Here, networking feels like a full-time hustle. It's not just about swapping LinkedIn's or grabbing the occasional coffee. Your relationships can directly shape your next promotion, your job stability, even your whole career path. And thanks to the constant turnover in political leadership and priorities, staying relevant means constantly updating your network, like it's a software. People switch jobs, sectors, and cities fast. You blink and someone you just met is suddenly running a department or launching something big. If you're not keeping up, it's easy to fall off the radar. Meeting someone once isn't enough. You've got to stay in touch, check in, follow up. That's part of the job here. And don't overlook the location. Where you live can totally shape your ability to stay plugged in. Some neighborhoods make it easy to swing by a happy hour or a last-minute event downtown. Others, not so much. That extra 20-minute commute might not sound like a big deal until it's the reason you skip the event where someone else meets your future boss. And speaking of events, don't estimate those casual happy hours. I've seen people make a random connection on a Thursday night that completely changed their trajectory. You never know who you're standing next to. Some of the biggest opportunities here start with a drink and a name tag. Of course, understanding the social landscape also helps with family decisions. especially when it comes to school. Number 8, the school system lottery shock. If you have kids, get ready for a big surprise. DC's public school system doesn't work like most places. It completely changes how you think about housing. You don't automatically get assigned to the neighborhood school just because you live nearby. Instead, families enter a lottery system to get placed in schools. Now, this shocks a lot of people who expect the usual zone schools where your address tells you exactly which school your child will attend. The lottery is designed to promote equity across the city, but it means you have to plan strategically. You can't just buy a house near a top-rated school and expect your kids to get in. The uncertainty forces families to think differently about where and when to buy, and to have backup options ready. The east-west river divide and suburb choices we talked about earlier add even more layers to this. Different areas tie into different lottery pools and backup schools, so your location affects your chances and options in ways you might not expect. Now, the school lottery system totally changes the housing game. You have to think about multiple what-if scenarios instead of aiming for one perfect school nearby. And since we're talking about local systems that don't work like you might expect, the DC food scene has its own surprises. Number 9, authentic food scenes beyond tourist spots. DC's real food scene isn't on the National Mall. It's not where tourists go. And once you figure that out, your whole experience of living here changes. Start with Ethiopian food. DC has the largest Ethiopian population outside of Ethiopia, which means you'll find incredibly authentic cuisine all over the city. But it's more than just the food. It's a window into a community that's deeply woven into DC's culture and history. Asian food has quietly gotten amazing too, but it depends on where you go. 8th Street and Union Market are great spots right in the district. Falls Church has fantastic Vietnamese and Cambodian food. Rockville is known for its Vietnamese, Chinese, and Cambodian options. And if you're looking for Indian or Chinese, Loudoun County is a top destination. Locals know about the hidden gems, speakeasies and historic buildings, rooftop hotel restaurants with killer views, and Union Market, which easily competes with food halls in bigger cities. Even the National Zoo fits here. It's a top-tier attraction that's totally free, and it's surrounded by great food options if you know where to look. But one thing that really changed my view of DC culture, an Ethiopian coffee ceremony. It's not just about the coffee, it's about hospitality, community, and tradition. You'll find these ceremonies in restaurants across the city, and they give you a much deeper understanding of what makes this place special. And there's one thing about DC that catches people off guard when it comes to dining out and socializing. It's the city's rhythm. Number 10 on the list. It all comes down to how early everything closes, which I'll get into next. Number 10, early shutdown reality. All right, DC isn't New York. We know that. The nightlife shuts down earlier than most newcomers expect, and that changes how you plan everything. Most places close by 10 p.m. Outside a few districts, late night food and drink options are limited. There is no 24-hour convenience culture like in other big cities. The rhythm is different, and it takes some adjusting if you're used to places that stay open all night. This early shutdown means you need to shift your social plans. Dinner happens earlier. Meetups start earlier. You can't count on grabbing food or drinks late unless you've planned ahead. And don't forget, DC traffic from point 1 means you need to factor in more travel time, especially during peak hours. But there's an upside. These earlier nights means more energy for the kind of professional life DC offers. The networking talked about, it usually happens during the day or in the early evening events, not at midnight in a bar. And that makes sense because DC's career opportunities are like nowhere else. Government jobs, policy roles, international organizations, consulting firms, think tanks, advocacy groups. The list can go on. If you're here to build a serious career, the city's rhythm actually works in your favor. That's a wrap on the list. Washington, D.C. offers unmatched career opportunities, but thriving here means knowing how the city really works. These 10 things, from housing hacks and school lotteries to intense networking and early social hours, aren't just quirks. They shape your daily life, your wallet, and your time. And if you're thinking about moving here, or already have, do these things resonate with you? Because once you get how DC moves, you stop just surviving and start getting ahead. Thinking about moving or investing in DC? 2025 is the year to do it. And I'm here to help. I've guided hundreds through this market, and I know it inside and out. So just shoot me an email, ryan@coalitionpg.com, or check the description below for all of my contact info. Got questions? I'm happy to answer it. But don't go just yet. I'll place another video right here where I dive even deeper into DC's quirks and what it's really like after 21 years of living here. Some of it might seriously surprise you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.